Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're aiming for a shortcut, really. A way to quickly get a handle on the pretty complex machinery behind digital advertising. If you've ever felt like ad tech is just this confusing soup of acronyms, well, we're going straight to one of the key pieces today, focusing on the tech backbone for publishers. Okay, let's try and unpack this a bit. Imagine you're running a successful website, maybe a blog or an app. You've got an audience, right? Their attention is valuable. But you probably don't have a huge sales team making calls to every advertiser out there. Still, you need to sell that ad space instantly and get the best price. And crucially, make sure the ads aren't, totally wrong for your site or offensive. It's a real balancing act, making money while keeping control. That's the challenge.
Exactly. And the solution, the software that does all that heavy lifting for the publisher, that's the supply-side platform, the SSP. Simply put, it's a platform, it's software, specifically built to help publishers, those website owners, app creators, the suppliers, sell their ad inventory automatically. Think of the SSP as the publisher's automated sales agent. Its job is pretty clear but really powerful. It lets you, the publisher, get the most possible revenue from your ads. But just as importantly, it gives you fine-grained control over which advertisers get to show ads and what kind of content appears on your site or app. It's where the money meets curation.
Right, that dual role of money and control.
Yeah.
That's why it's so essential. But how does it actually do that? We know it's automated, but what's making it so fast and efficient?
Yeah.
Efficient enough to replace potentially a whole team of people. What's the actual engine inside the SSP?
Well, the efficiency really boils down to the system it operates on. Programmatic advertising. Programmatic is a bit of a catch-all term, but for an SSP, it means using smart technology, think AI, machine learning, to handle the ad buying and selling process automatically. So when a publisher plugs an SSP into their site, that platform gets immediate access to all the available ad slots, the inventory. The SSP's AI then looks at that slot and asks, who's the user seeing this? What page are they on? What price has this kind of slot sold for before? It uses all this data to get the slot ready for sale.
Okay, so it's not just like a simple listing ad space available here. It's actively pricing and matching.
Yeah.
But how smart is that matching? Is the AI just doing basic stuff like age and location?
Oh, it's way beyond that. It's highly sophisticated, and the main focus is usually on yield optimization, getting the best possible price. The AI within the SSP is constantly running calculations, trying to predict the absolute highest price an advertiser might pay for that specific impression right at that moment. It also handles complex rules like don't show ads from these competitors, or this ad size works best here, and it knows the current level of demand, all in real time. It's about squeezing the most value out of every single view for the publisher.
Which brings us to the speed, because this whole decision, this whole sale, has to happen ridiculously fast, right? Before the page even finishes loading for the user. And this is where it gets really wild, I think. That whole auction process we just described, it happens through real-time bidding, RTB.
Precisely. The moment a visitor hits your website, the SSP instantly signals, hey, I've got an ad slot available here, to all the connected buyers, ad exchanges, other platforms. And that signal triggers an auction, a super, super fast auction.
Like a tiny stock market that opens and closes in the blink of an eye. The SSP gets bids, picks the highest one instantly, and boom, the winning ad shows up for the user.
Yeah, the speed is almost hard to comprehend. The whole thing, user arrives, auction happens, ad is chosen, ad is displayed, takes milliseconds?
Milliseconds, why?
Literally milliseconds, way faster than your heartbeat. And that speed isn't just a cool feature, it's fundamental to how this whole digital ad market works today. And, that underlying technology, the programmatic RTB engine, is what delivers the actual tangible benefits for publishers, why they use SSPs in the first place. We can probably break down the main advantages for the publisher into, say, 4 key areas.
Okay, let's do that. Because understanding why a publisher uses an SSP is really key to seeing the whole picture. What's the first big win for them?
The first, and maybe the most obvious, is just massive access to demand and competition. Think about it. Before SSPs, a publisher might have relationships with, a dozen advertisers? Maybe. With an SSP, they connect instantly to potentially hundreds, even thousands of buyers, all bidding at the same time through things like ad exchanges. That creates intense competition for every single ad impression.
And competition drives up the price, right? Basic economics. But does connecting to so many buyers cause any issues? Like, does it make prices really volatile or unpredictable sometimes?
It certainly can. And that's exactly why the second big advantage is critical: price optimization, which is heavily reliant on data. See, a good SSP gives the publisher really detailed reports. It tracks everything: how many people saw the ad, impressions, who clicked, the click-through rates, and crucially, the actual revenue earned across all those thousands of tiny transactions. And having that data is vital. It allows the publisher to make smart decisions, especially about setting a minimum acceptable price. We call that the price floor. If the data shows that, say, ads shown to users interested in hiking are selling for a high price, the publisher can tell the SSP, okay, don't accept any bids below this level for those impressions. They can adjust the floor. Without that data from the SSP, they'd just be guessing, likely leaving money on the table.
Got it. So the SSP is constantly trying to ensure the publisher isn't underselling valuable inventory, like selling a premium spot for pennies. But hang on, if publishers are using SSPs to push for higher and higher price floors, and they're flooding the market with inventory via these platforms, does that constant pressure from the SSP to maximize yield maybe encourage, let's say, clever tactics from the buyers to push back?
That's a really sharp point. Yes, absolutely. The buying side, which uses demand-side platforms or DSPs, we'll get to those, they have their own sophisticated tools. Buyers might use techniques like bid shading, where they try to win the auction by bidding just slightly above the second highest bid rather than their absolute maximum they're trying to get value to. So there's this inherent tension, you know? The SSP pushing for the highest possible price for the publisher, and the DSP trying to secure the lowest possible cost for the advertiser. The SSP's job includes managing that dynamic, making sure the publisher holds that price floor effectively despite the buyer trying to find bargains.
Fascinating. It really is a market dynamic playing out in milliseconds. Okay, now, thinking about the publisher again. Managing thousands, maybe millions of these tiny transactions every day sounds like an administrative nightmare.
Yeah.
How do they even keep track of it all manually?
Well, they don't, right?
Exactly, they don't. Or rather, they couldn't possibly. Which leads us straight to the third major benefit: streamlined workflows. The automation provided by the SSP is just immense. It saves publishers a huge amount of time they used to spend on things like direct sales calls, negotiating deals, handling insertion orders, figuring out billing with each individual advertiser. Imagine the old days. Spreadsheets tracking which ad slots were sold, endless back-and-forth emails, chasing invoices. It was incredibly manual, especially at scale. The SSP automates almost all of that. Inventory management, targeting, billing, reporting, it's handled by the platform. It essentially turns what used to require a sales and operations team into a single software integration. Okay, automation solving the headache factor, that makes sense. But there's one more really big concern, especially for publishers who care deeply about their content and their audience's experience. That's brand control, right? Making sure the ads fit the site and aren't disruptive or harmful. This must be huge for quality publishers.
It's absolutely critical, and SSPs provide tools for this. Publishers can set very strict rules about who is even allowed to bid on their inventory. They can create block lists, say, banning ads from direct competitors, or categories they deem sensitive, like gambling or politics, or even specific advertisers they've had issues with. They can also block certain ad formats or sizes they don't like. And crucially, they rely on the SSP's safety filters to try and catch malicious ads, like malware or ads that aren't compliant with regulations, before they ever get displayed.
Okay, but wait, isn't there a conflict here? If I, as a high-quality publisher, set a really high price floor and I block, say, half the potential advertisers because I don't like their category, am I not just shooting myself in the foot, reducing competition and therefore lowering my potential revenue? Is brand control always at odds with maximizing revenue?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And yes, there is a trade-off. You're absolutely right. More restrictions can mean fewer bidders, which can lower the maximum possible price in some auctions. But the SSP helps manage this balance. The thinking is often that maintaining a high-quality, brand-safe environment attracts premium advertisers who are willing to pay more in the long run. So even if you restrict the pool of bidders, the ones remaining might value your inventory more highly because it's safe and associated with quality content. The SSP provides the data and tools to find that sweet spot, balancing reach and revenue with brand integrity. It helps ensure that protecting your brand is actually part of a profitable strategy, not just a cost center.
That really clarifies the publisher's side of things. The SSP is their engine for selling smart, but we know it takes two to tango in any market. So to really get the full picture, we have to talk about the other side, the buyer. We've mentioned the demand-side platform, the DSP. Where does that fit in?
Right. They are essentially mirror images operating in the same ecosystem. It's crucial to understand their distinct roles. while the SSP, as we've discussed, helps publishers sell their ad inventory and manage the supply. The demand-side platform, or DST, is the tool used by advertisers and agencies to buy ad inventory. They manage the demand side of the equation. So if you're, say, a big car brand and you want to reach men aged 30-50 who live in California and have shown interest in electric vehicles, you'd use a DSP. The DSP is the software where you set your budget, define your target audience, upload your ad creatives, and set your bidding strategy. It then goes out and bids automatically across all the SSPs and exchanges to find those users for you at the best possible price.
Okay, so SSPs for the seller, publisher, DSPs for the buyer, advertiser. Makes perfect sense. They meet in the middle.
Exactly. They meet, electronically speaking, in the ad exchanges, which act like marketplaces. That's where the RTB auction actually happens. The SSP puts an ad slot up for auction, signaling, here's an available impression, here's some data about the user. Multiple DSPs, representing different advertisers, see that signal and submit their bids in real time. The SSP receives those bids, instantly picks the highest one that meets the publisher's criteria, tells the winning DSP, and then the DSP sends the ad creative back to the SSP to be displayed on the publisher's page. It's this constant, incredibly fast interaction between SSPs and DSPs, facilitated by exchanges, that makes the whole programmatic system work. When it functions well, it benefits both sides. Publishers maximize revenue, and advertisers reach their desired audiences efficiently.
That ties it all together perfectly. So for everyone listening, you now have that shortcut, that deep dive understanding. The SSP is the publisher's automated sales force, using AI and real-time auctions to get the best price while keeping control. And it works hand in glove, in milliseconds, with the advertiser's tool, the DSP, a high-speed digital handshake.
Precisely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with as you browse the web and see these ads appearing seemingly by magic. If this whole massive ecosystem, the SSP selling, the DSP buying, hinges entirely on transactions that must complete in a fraction of a second through RTB, what does that incredible reliance on speed tell us? What does it imply about the actual, maybe fleeting value of a single digital impression? And how volatile that value might be? It's fascinating to think how these tiny windows of time underpin huge global financial flows, all driven by where our eyes happen to land for a moment.